Hello, everyone. I'm excited to share with you Ed Pruce. He's the CEO and co founder of Motiv, and I am so excited about this new banking product that's free for consumers that could potentially revolutionize banking for the benefit of all consumers, but especially low income consumers that have been victims, really, of banking practices in recent years. So stick around. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
This episode is made possible via the support of our sponsors, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd. Ed, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're thrilled to have you on the show and so excited to learn more about what you're doing at Motiv. Give us the overview. I don't want to tell anybody anything else about Motiv. You tell them.
Yeah, sure. So, well, thanks so much for having me. Love the show. So Motiv, what is Motiv? Motiv is a free mobile bank account that helps account holders build their credit score without going into debt. The problem we're solving is that basically banking is super expensive. There's tons of fees, traps. It's easy to end up with overdrafts or monthly fees. And building credit is expensive or completely a mystery. We're basically trying to solve that problem with a simple bank account that anyone can open.
It's really, really amazing. So let's get some basics out of the way. Is somewhere in the Motiv model an FDIC insured bank?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a partnership with Evolve Bank and Trust, which is FDIC insured. So all the money that sits on our account is basically protected by the government.
Excellent. Okay, so people sign up for this account. They put money into it. How do they spend it?
So they receive a Motiv Visa debit card, which is accepted anywhere Visa is accepted, which is pretty much everywhere. And
Excellent.
they can load their account like they would any normal bank account.
Now, is there anywhere they can go to make a withdrawal from an ATM without paying a fee?
Yeah, so we have an ATM network that we're part of that has about 25,000 free ATMs inside of our app. You can basically search for your location and find the closest free ATM.
Are there any states where you don't have any free ATMs?
No, I mean, some rural areas, if you're going to Alaska, you're going to have some issues finding free ATMs. But importantly, you can also use your debit card to get free cash back. So if you're at the grocery store and you can't find a free ATM, you can get $100 back when you buy your eggs and milk.
Excellent. You know, one of the things that happens to people with traditional bank accounts is they write checks they can't cover. Your bank accounts don't involve checks. Is that right?
Yes, so we don't have a check writing service right now. We find that in 21st century, most people are making payments using debit cards or directly linking their Motiv account to their biller. We may roll that service out in the future. It's somewhere on our product roadmap, but we haven't honestly heard a lot of clamoring from our customers for that.
Yeah. The checks these days seem to be much less useful and much more problematic. It's how people get in trouble with their bank account. It's the delay that creates the problem, right?
For sure. Yeah. So that's, you cannot overdraft your Motiv bank account, which is a huge benefit to our users. And one of the things we've done to eliminate that risk for our users is basically just do away with the checks. They can pay their bills other ways, no problem.
So one of the challenges is, of course, if you go to the grocery store without any money in your account and you swipe your card, no groceries for you, right?
Right. That's a challenge. So right now with Motiv, you can only spend what you have. But if you go to make a purchase for $10 and you only have $5 in your account, the transaction is simply declined because you don't have sufficient funds.
But you're not going to charge them anything for making the attempt.
Nope. There's no charge.
And so a customer can't blame Motiv for failing to be able to buy their groceries because not only did they make the error, but Motiv hasn't been charging them $35 every time they overdraw the account. They haven't been charging them $12 a month for the account. the account, all the services are free to the consumer, right?
Exactly. Yes. There's no monthly fee. There's no minimum deposit requirement. You can't overdraft the account, so there's no overdraft fees. Basically, with the simple Motiv account, you can not incur a fee from us. And so we want to put in, over time, we're going to put in budgeting features that help people think through, where is my money going, so that they don't get in that situation where they're trying to buy groceries and they don't have enough money. But for the time being, it's basically banking on training wheels. You can't tip over, you can't screw it up.
Now, for those of us who use online banking all the time, there's an interesting nuance that isn't entirely transparent. But when we do online banking, a lot of times, when we go online, we say pay a bill. A lot of times, the bank actually issues a draft that works like a check and generates float. And it creates this hazard that we were talking about earlier. How do you handle online transactions like that?
So right now, our online transactions flow through our debit card, which is basically on the Visa network, and those transactions are instantaneous. So you don't have that float issue. There are certain transactions where you can link your Motiv account to another payment method or another bank account. If in those situations there's a float, we have a delay to make sure that the user doesn't get squeezed. All in all, we're trying to protect them from having a negative account and then being charged for that.
Yeah. It really is an exciting development in banking to create a truly free platform for them. Now, of course, that begs a question. And the question is not just begged by your investors who want to know how you're going to make money, but also by consumers who are skeptical of free. Because when a consumer hears you're going to offer me something for free, a consumer these days has learned sort of by sad experience, okay, that just means you're going to screw me in a way I don't understand. So how do you make money?
Right. So we're very upfront about this, and we are huge proponents of banks and financial institutions stripping away the smoke and mirrors and being very upfront with their users about how they make money. We make money when somebody swipes their Motiv debit card. The merchant that they made the purchase with pays a commission to basically Visa and us for processing that transaction. That commission is not charged to the user at all. It's basically charged to the merchant, and that's how we make basically a few pennies on every transaction. And over time, those pennies add up.
So I take my Motiv card, I go to the grocery store, I buy $73.82 worth of groceries, and what charge comes out on my statement? How much money is deducted from my account?
Just the value of your grocery bill. So I think
nothing else. No additional fees.
No additional fees.
And the money you make comes from a commission that the merchant pays, right?
Right. So the merchant, depending on what type of merchant, will pay a percentage commission of that transaction. So if you're paying the $73 and change that you mentioned, they're making 72 or 71, and they're paying a commission over to Visa and us.
Excellent. Now, one of the interesting things that you've mentioned and that you hype, I don't mean to insult this idea, but it's intriguing to me that one of the things you do is to help people establish credit. Now, you're using a debit card, a savings account mechanism. How are you helping people establish a credit score in this situation?
Right. So basically, we are offering our customers a separate service, which is 100% optional, which is effectively a savings plan where they commit to set aside a certain amount of money every month for a set number of months, generally 12 to 24 months. And we report those savings payments to the credit bureaus so somebody can build a credit score and a payment history with their savings transactions. Technically, it's called a secured loan or a savings secured loan. So that's how we're doing it and structuring it. But from a user's experience, basically they can sign up, get a free bank account with a debit card, and they get a savings plan where they're also building credit while they're saving and get out of that credit catch-22 that so many people end up in.
So they can establish credit as they're going with Motiv. And what do they pay for that?
So we're charging a $5 fee for that service per month, but we're going to make it free for power users who are actively using their debit card. So trying to create a win-win model where if somebody is swiping their Motiv debit card, almost like you might get cash back or rewards points on another piece of plastic, we give you basically a free credit building service and waive all your fees.
Interesting. Well, it's very exciting to see what you're doing here. Certainly, there is something of a crisis in the country with banking, where we see it all the time now. Banking is becoming less and less affordable and more important, leaving people kind of on the margins of the economy.
Right.
With payday lenders and check cashing services that make it more expensive to be poor in America than to be rich.
Absolutely. Our target customer is basically anyone who wants to have a healthy, non-adversarial relationship with their bank, and they want to bank with an institution that is in their corner and has their best interests and the best interests of the community at heart. But to try and exist in the 21st century without a banking relationship, without the ability to make purchases online, whether it's for simple services like ride sharing or just making online purchases where you can access really affordable products through big companies like Amazon, it's very difficult to save money and basically have a healthy financial life if you don't have a banking relationship.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to your point, a lot of bank products are really expensive and penalize low-income customers.
Yeah. As you think about all that you've done in your career, and you've had an interesting career doing a lot of really cool stuff, what are you most proud of having accomplished?
I'm most proud of Motiv. I think that getting a free, transparent banking product to market that's available to anyone, regardless of their income, credit, banking history, or citizenship status. Getting all of that together and out and being able to serve a couple thousand customers, that was a ton of work. It was a labor of love at times, but I'm super proud of it. I think we're starting to make a big impact in our customers' lives, and we have a really exciting road ahead of us.
As you reflect on your career, what's the most important lesson you've learned?
I think the most important lesson is you just have to trust your gut, and I think your gut has to be centered around integrity, whether it's partnerships with third parties, whether it's hiring people, whether it's bringing on co-founders to build a business, whether it's finding investors. You always want to look for integrity in somebody and really think about where is their heart in this whole business arrangement, because that's gonna tell you a lot about how things are going to play out in 6 months, in a year, and 2 years as you're building your business or building your professional career. I optimize around integrity. I think it's an age-old lesson, but I find it to be true time and time again.
You have a Harvard MBA, spent time at Bain, super brilliant guy. You know how to make money. Not that this is a philanthropic endeavor, but it has its own challenges. Why have you jumped into this at this point in your career? A banking service that's really really aimed at solving a social problem.
I think that if I kind of look at myself in the mirror and think about the big problems on a macro level that I see in the country, I think that a lot of folks in America are getting left behind, and they're getting overlooked by big institutions, whether it's banks or big corporations, big employers. I think that's problematic for us as a country. I think that's problematic for a democracy. I can go on for a long time about that. I look at the problem we're solving, and then I look at my own skill set and my background, and I think that I have the tools and the passion to basically do something about it. And, there's the famous quote that what we need to fear most is the indifference of good men and women in seeing big problems and solving them. And I don't want to be somebody who looks back at my life and says, I was an indifferent and turned a blind eye to these problems. I think I can do something about it. I think there are a lot of people out there who feel the same way and want to work with us or do their own thing and partner with us somehow to solve big problems that make a difference in somebody's life.
Ed, what is your superpower?
What is my superpower? I would say singing in the shower, but my family would disagree. What's my superpower? I think that I have a fairly high tolerance for rejection, which I think you have to have when you're building a startup. You hear time and time again when you're building a startup, you have a lot of people just tell you, no, you can't do it, you're crazy. And I think that in a way I've become a little numb to that. And, I've found that I can push through that and find what's true and keep working.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Ed, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Love what you're doing, and would ask if you just take a minute before you go and tell people how they can learn more about Motiv and how they can connect with you.
For sure. So if you're interested in Motiv, you can go to motivmoney.com and basically read up about us, read about our core bank account, read through our FAQs, learn about the credit building service. If you're a fan, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Our handle is MotivMoney1. If you're interested in the product, you can go find it in the App Store or Google Play, download it. It takes 5 minutes or less to sign up, and the product's 100% free. So whether you're looking for credit building services, a free bank account, or you just want to basically put your money where your mouth is and support our mission, we'd love to have you as customers using the product and the platform.
Fantastic. Well, Ed, thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you every success in scaling up this free credit building tool.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks.
All righty. Let's do some good.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thank you for listening. Devin Thorpe's mission is to end extreme poverty, improve global health, and mitigate climate change before 2045 by finding and sharing the stories of those who are doing the most good. You can join with other listeners to accelerate Devin's mission by visiting helpdevin.org right now.